Friends, today we are going to learn about rearrangement. In chemistry, a rearrangement is a chemical reaction in which the carbon skeleton of a molecule is rearranged to give us structural isomer of the original molecule. The rearrangement is like the substitution reaction and the addition reaction, one of the basic operations of chemical synthesis. Today we learn about Wagner-Mervin rearrangement. The Wagner-Mervin rearrangement is an organic reaction used to convert an alcohol to an olefin using an acid catalyst. The mechanism begins with protonation of the alcohol by the acid, which is then released as water to form a carbocation. A 1,2 shift then occurs to form a more substituted and stabilized carbocation. The final deprotonation with water produces the final olefin product and regenerates the acid catalyst. Now let us look at the mechanism. So here we have the starting material as a alcohol, and here in presence of water, so you can see here the oxygen is withdrawing the proton of the water molecule. The oxygen takes up the proton of the water molecule. In such a situation, what happens is oxygen is going to possess 3 bonds. When it possesses 3 bonds, it is going to have a positive charge on the oxygen. Now there is going to be removal of water molecule. That is, minus water molecule is going to be removed. So once it is removed, you can see since the water molecule goes away with the electron pair, now this carbon atom possesses a positive charge. That is, it forms a carbocation. And this carbocation, you can see, is a secondary carbocation. See here, the central carbon that is bearing the positive charge is connected to 2 other carbon atoms. So hence it is a secondary carbocation. Now, whenever there is a secondary carbocation, what happens is, this carbocation always tries to form a much stable carbocation. That is, it tries to form a tertiary carbocation. And we know that the order of stability is tertiary carbocation more stable than secondary carbocation, more stable than primary carbocation. And the reason is, in tertiary carbocation, since there are more alkyl groups, so these alkyl groups, what happens is they try to stabilize the positive charge by inductive effect. That is, the methyl group possesses a plus inductive effect. It donates, or it always releases electrons towards the positive charge, wherein the positive charge will be neutralized. So that is one of the reasons. And the second reason is hyperconjugation. So these 2 reasons, what happens is tertiary carbocation is more stable than secondary carbocation. So now here also in this situation, what happens is there is a secondary carbocation, and this tries to form a much stable carbocation, that is the tertiary, by 1,2 shift. So in the 1,2 shift, what is happening is one of the alkyl groups. See here, there is R1, R2 and R3, and all the alkyl groups are here. So one of the alkyl group will shift towards the positive carbon. So once it shifts, what happens the next step is the positive charge will be present on the adjacent carbon atom. Now see, in this first one, the positive charge is here. That is, you can say like C2. So the positive charge was on C2. Next, after 1,2 shift, that is after one of the alkyl group from the C1 moves towards C2. Now you can see that the positive charge is on the C2. The positive charge is on C2. Okay, this is what we call as 1,2 shift. If you start numbering, see the positive charge you can number as 1 and the adjacent carbon as 2. So the alkyl group is shifting from second position to first position. Or if you number it like the vice versa, the alkyl group is shifting from one position to the second position. So that's the reason why it is called as 1,2 shift. Whenever any functional group or alkyl group, or even it can be aryl group, or it can be any other, it can be even hydrogen, when it moves from carbon number 1 to carbon number 2, it is called as the 1,2 shift. So here what happens is there is a positive charge on C2 now. Now this is you can see that this carbocation is a tertiary carbocation, because there is R3, there is R2, and also there is one carbon atom with which it is linked to. So hence it is a tertiary carbocation. And here from secondary carbocation, tertiary carbocation is more stable. Now after the tertiary carbocation is formed, again there is a water molecule which is going to abstract the proton from the carbon. carbon 2. So once it abstracts proton from carbon 2, what is happening is there is going to be formation of the olefin. Why? Because there is only deprotonation. The hydrogen is coming out as H plus, not as hydrogen. So once it is water molecule abstracts the proton, that is once it abstracts H plus, there is electron pair between carbon and hydrogen, which will form a double bond to form an olefin. So here what is the main reaction is that the alcohol is converted to olefin. Alcohol converted to olefin is the Wagner-Merwin rearrangement. But in this, the intermediate is formation of a stable carbocation, and the stable carbocation is tertiary carbocation. So if it is in a primary carbocation, then it's going to be 1,2 shift, wherein the alkyl group from position 1 is going to move to the second position, and hence that is called 1,2 shift, or an aryl group or a hydrogen group moving from the adjacent carbon from one carbon to second carbon is called as the alkyl shift. So here after, it's called a 1,2 shift. So after the 1,2 shift, it is going to form an olefin. So this is the reaction. This is the main mechanism for the Wagner-Merwin rearrangement. Now let us take some examples. The rearrangement was first discovered in bicyclic terpenes, for example, conversion of isoborneol to camphene. So here this is the isoborneol and this is the camphene. So here let us look at the mechanism now. First is the starting material has the hydroxyl group. And this hydroxyl group on hydrolysis, what happens? OH is going to grab the proton. So once it grabs proton, it is going to be eliminated as water molecule. H2O is going to be eliminated. Once it eliminates, we know when water eliminates, it is going to take up the electron pair between the carbon and the water molecule, right? So once it eliminates, there's going to be a formation of a carbocation. So this carbocation, you can see that it is a secondary carbocation. Because the carbocation is, or the carbon which is bearing the positive charge is attached to two other carbon atoms, hence it is the secondary carbocation. Now there can be possibility of a much stable carbocation. How is it possible? Is because you can look at the red arrow, that is the bond, that is a carbon-carbon bond, is going to shift towards the carbon bearing the positive charge. So once it shifts, what is going to happen? We are going to obtain a intermediate of this kind, wherein the carbocation, once it was a secondary, now it becomes a tertiary carbocation, and we know tertiary carbocation is much more stable than any other forms of carbocation, that is secondary or primary. So now I hope you're understanding, this is a carbocation first which was generated after the removal of water molecule, and this is a secondary carbocation. Now there can be possibility of a much stable carbocation, which is tertiary carbocation. So how is the tertiary formed? Is when the carbon atom, you can look at the red arrow, the carbon atom is moving, the carbon-carbon bond is moving from that position towards the carbon bearing the positive charge. Once it moves, that is, they are breaking this bond. The blue line which you can see, that is the carbon-carbon bond, that is going to break and is going to form a straight line from the carbocation. That is what you can see here. This is the bond that is formed here. Okay, that's a bond. Now what happens is, now you can see that it is a tertiary carbocation. When you look at the positive charge, now just consider all the bonds which are connecting to the positive charge. There is one bond up and there's one bond oblique and there's one bond connected to the methyl group. So since there are three bonds which are formed at the carbocation, it is a tertiary carbocation which is very stable. Now at this point we can also rearrange this intermediate like this. This is a rearrangement. Okay, once it is rearranged, see now here also you can see that it is a tertiary carbocation. Here it is very much clearer that the positive charge carbon atom is bonded to three other carbon atoms, which is in this shape. It is like this shape, which is here, and it is bonded to three other carbon atoms, and hence it is nothing but a tertiary carbocation. Now what is going to happen is, there is going to be the removal of a proton. So when there's removal of proton, that is removal of proton is from CH3 group. So that is one of the hydrogen of CH3 is going to be removed as H+. Once it is going to remove as H+, there's going to be a negative charge on this carbon atom. Once there's a formation of negative charge on this carbon atom, it is going to move towards the carbon which is formed the bridge and it forms the double bond. So this is how the camphene is formed from isoborneol. Okay, so wherever you have a starting material of isoborneol, or you can actually make out whenever there is a hydroxyl group or a halide group and changing to an olefin, then it is a Wagner-Mervin rearrangement. So this is how a Wagner-Mervin rearrangement takes place, that is alcohol changing to the olefin. There are many more examples also wherein there is a halide also. So even that is also can come under the Wagner-Mervin rearrangement. But here what happens is in place of hydroxyl, the hydroxyl will be there, but there will be an additional Cl minus which is going to take up. So those examples we will see in the later slides. So this is another example for the Wagner-Mervin rearrangement. Now let us look at some conditions wherein the carbocation always doesn't have to be tertiary carbocation, but it is going to adjust itself wherever there is a stability in the molecule. A relief of strain via ring expansion provides a driving force for Wagner-Mervin shift of a carbon-carbon bond. Alpha-pinene with a strained 4-membered ring on reaction with hydrogen chloride gives a strained carbocation in which the ring expands to give a less strained 5-membered ring. In this case, despite the fact that the rearrangement transforms the initially formed stable tertiary carbocation to a less stable secondary carbocation, relief of ring strain makes the rearrangement favorable. So now let us look at the meaning of this is nothing but, see, whenever there is a ring strain, that is, we know that 3-membered, 4-membered, 5-membered rings, usually they are having a ring strain because of steric hindrance. All the angles are there, the strain, that is, they have the Pitster strain in them there, and also angle strain. So what happens is they are like too close, all the bonds are too close to each other. That time what happens, there is a more strain within the molecule. So when such a kind of a structure is present, that is a 3-membered ring, so to ward off to come out of the strain, what happens is they adjust themselves and form a 4-membered ring or a 5-membered ring. So in such situation, though there is a formation or a change from a tertiary carbocation to a secondary carbocation, in spite of that, it is going to form a 4-membered ring just because to avoid the strain in molecules. So let us take an example. So now here we have an alpha-pinene. So here you can look at so this alpha-pinene, it is going to change to, this alpha-pinene is going to change to the isobornyl chloride. So now when you look at this ring, I've written here, see, 4-membered ring. So this is a 4-membered ring in the alpha-pinene, and this on a hydrolysis, acid hydrolysis, is going to form a 5-membered ring. So now here you can see that 4-membered ring are having more angle strain compared to 5-membered ring. In 5-membered ring, the angle strain is always eased because the bonds are little bit away compared to 3-membered or a 4-membered ring. Now let us look at the mechanism. What is the change in this reaction? So now here first what happens is there is going to be abstraction of a proton from the alkene. Okay, so when the alkene abstracts proton, one of the carbon atom is going to take up the hydroxyl, that is, this carbon atom is going to take up the hydroxyl, whereas the other carbon atom is going to form a positive charge, because here what's happening is the double bond is getting divided, and one of the carbon takes up the H plus to form a bond. That is, here you can see that there's a bond here. Here there's a bond from carbon to hydrogen, and the other carbon atom, since the double bond has moved towards this carbon atom, what happens is the other carbon atom is going to get a positive charge. Now here when you look at this carbocation, it's definitely clear that it is a tertiary carbocation. So now here the carbon atom which is bearing the positive charge is connected to 3 other carbon atom, right? So hence it is a tertiary carbocation, and we know that tertiary carbocation is considered to be the most stable among the other carbocations. But here what happens is there is going to be CC bond formation. Now what happens, CC bond formation is bond migration, sorry. So now there is I've written the arrow mark here. You can see that the positive charge carbon is going to be eased by a migration of this carbon-carbon bond towards the carbocation. Now when that situation happens, see, that is, this carbon atom is broken. Okay, now when this carbon atom is broken and it forms a bond like this, as if it is forming a bond. It's going to break the carbon and it's going to form a bond. Now this carbon atom which was broken forms a carbocation. Now you can see that this carbocation is a secondary carbocation. This was a tertiary carbocation and this is a secondary carbocation. But the advantage of this molecule is that here from a 4-membered ring, that is here it's a 4-membered ring, it has formed a 5-membered ring. From 4-membered ring it has formed a 5-membered ring. Though the tertiary carbocation has changed to secondary carbocation, but here you should look at the ring strain. This is a 4-membered ring and it was a 4-membered ring with the tertiary carbocation. And since there was a migration of carbon-carbon bond towards the carbocation, now it is forming a secondary carbocation, but there is a 5-membered ring. So here, as there is a less of angle strain in this particular molecule, that is the isobonyl chloride, hence what happens is, isobonyl group, hence what happens is, it is going to retain this structure and it is not going to again form any tertiary carbocation. It is going to retain itself in the secondary carbocation. Now a chloride ion is going to attack the electrophilic carbon. So this is the positive charge, you can see here is the electrophilic carbon. Chloride will attack the electrophilic carbon and it is going to form a chloride, isobonyl chloride as the molecule, final product. So here there is nothing but an alpha pinene changing to isobonyl chloride, and the intermediate is here is a secondary carbocation which is going to be retained because it is forming a 5-membered ring, unlike a tertiary carbocation which had a 4-membered ring. So this is one exception wherein a change in the carbocation, wherein secondary carbocation is considered to be more stable in this particular molecule because it has formed a 5-membered ring. Okay, next let us take one example. Predict the product of the reaction and give the mechanism. So first here we have a product. So students, you can expect this kind of a question in your question paper. They might even ask directly, explain Wagner-Mirvin rearrangement. So that time you can take your own examples and you can solve. But in most of the cases what happens is, see, actually, not all questions are asked like this, like explain Baker's reagent, explain Pinocchio rearrangement. So it is not like that all the questions are asked directly. Some of the questions can also be asked like you already solved the first sem question paper. So you know that some of the questions also will be they would have given the compound, the structure would have been given, and then they will ask you just find the rearrangement. So in such situation, you should be thorough with all the rearrangement. There totally are 21 rearrangements. So each one will be different from the other. Even though there is similarity, there will be some change in either the reagent or the product formed or the starting material. So all that you should be very much aware because it is a high scoring marks. That is more than elimination. They are asking more questions. If you look at the question paper, they are asking more questions on rearrangement. Though there are some questions on elimination also. But elimination is only 4-hour chapter, you know that. So hence you should focus first more on the rearrangement and then move to the elimination. Okay, so here there is the compound given to you, that is camphenyl because it's an alcohol, and they've asked whether the product is going to be first product or the second product. Though both are olefins, but the olefins that is the structure is different. The structure is same, the isomers this is a structural isomer, just the double bond are situated at the different carbon atoms. So now let us look at the reaction, that is the mechanism. First, always is, since it is an acid hydrolysis, all Wagner-Mirvin rearrangement takes place via acid hydrolysis. So there's always a H plus which is going to get abstracted by the alcohol. Okay, so here first what happens is the alcohol OH is going to take up the H plus. Once it takes up H plus, we're going to get a product, we're going to get an intermediate like this, wherein the oxygen is going to possess a positive charge. And we know oxygen cannot have a positive charge. And all the positive charges or negative charges have to be removed. So hence what happens is water is going to eliminate as H2O. So H2O, once it is eliminated, so now at that position what is going to happen, there's going to be formation of a carbocation. And this carbocation you can see is a secondary carbocation. So now this secondary carbocation, now what happens is, See, we have studied about Brett's rule, right? What does Brett's rule say? That in strained molecules, there cannot be a formation of a double bond in the strained molecule. So now when you look at this structure here, it is though there's a double bond within the cyclic structure, bridge structure, but here it cannot form because it is against the Brett's rule. Brett's rule says that there cannot be any formation of a double bond within a strained molecule, within a ring structure, within a bicyclic compound. There cannot be a double bond. So here, hence we are violating this rule. So this kind of product is not possible. Okay, this kind of product is not possible. That is, this product is not possible because it is going to form a bicyclic ring attached to the bridge system. That is the meaning of Brett's rule. There cannot be a possibility of a bicyclic ring which is wherein the carbon atom is attached to the bridged head. Okay, so bridged head carbons cannot have the double bond. So that's the reason why this is violation of Brett's rule. So hence, what is the other possibility? So the other possibility is there can be a methyl migration. See here, there is a secondary carbocation which is formed. I have written here clearly. You can see that. Now there's going to be a methyl migration. That is, see, when you look at the alpha carbon, that is this the carbon attached to the carbon which is adjacent to the carbocation, you can see that there are two methyl groups, right? Now one of the methyl group is going to migrate towards the carbocation. So when one of the methyl group migrates towards carbocation, what is happening? That the one methyl group is going to migrate towards the carbocation to give a structure like this. This is going to form a structure like this, and the adjacent carbon atom now is going to bear a positive charge because the methyl group there was migration of that particular carbon atom methyl group towards the adjacent carbon atom bearing the carbocation. Now when such a positive charge is formed here, now you can see that this positive charge, that is this carbocation, is a tertiary carbocation. You can see all the three bonds which is formed. 1, 2 and 3 bonds which are formed to the carbocation, and hence it is a tertiary carbocation. Okay, now when there is a tertiary carbocation, we know that the next step is going to be a loss of proton from the adjacent carbon atom to give rise to the olefin. So now here what happens is the hydrogen, see this adjacent carbon atom is having a hydrogen and also is having a methyl group, right? Now this is going to, there's going to be deprotonation of the H plus either by a base like water, or here we are using the water since it was used in the reaction. So hydrogen is going to abstract the proton. Once it abstracts the proton, there's going to be C minus which is going to form a double bond and form the olefin. Now what happens is that this positive charge is eased by the formation of a double bond. So this is how the reaction takes place. So always make sure, students, that to use that this reaction always takes place under acid hydrolysis only. So under acid hydrolysis, it is a hydroxyl group is going to abstract the proton, and there's going to be elimination of the hydroxyl group, elimination of the water molecule. When there's elimination of water molecule, at that position, there's going to be a carbocation formed. And looking at the carbocation, you can just write down the migration. That is you can write down as 1,2 shift. Or also it is called alkyl shift. 1,2 alkyl shift also you can write on. So once there is migration of the alkyl group, what happens is there's going to be positive charge on the adjacent carbon atom. Now when you look at this carbon atom, it is tertiary carbocation that is formed. Secondary carbocation is changed to tertiary carbocation, and now there's going to be removal of a proton by a base. That's a base here is a water molecule you are taking. So it's going to form H3O plus, and then again the reaction is going to go on continuously. Now we are taking only one structure, one molecule only, right, for the reaction. So here what happens is after the abstraction of proton, the double bond is going to form. That is, we are going to write down as loss of H plus and formation of the double bond. So hence this product is the correct product, unlike this one. This is, as I told, it doesn't follow the Brett's rule. It is the violation of Brett's rule because here you can see that at the bridge carbon there is a double bond, which is violation of the Brett's rule, and hence this product is going to be formed. So by looking at this reaction, you can make out which is going to be the product, but you just cannot write down the answer just like that because it is going to carry 3 marks or 2 marks or 4 marks, whatever it is. All answers in chemistry expect mechanism, so you have to write the mechanism for this. Okay, so that's all students for today. This ends the first rearrangement, that is Wagner-Meerwin rearrangement. I hope you understood this clearly. Thank you very much.